When it comes to Southeast Asia, Cambodia remains China's biggest source of influence in the region. Cambodia has been overtly dependent on China since the 1960s. Beijing took advantage of its control over Cambodia during the Vietnam War itself by allowing Viet Cong supply lines to run through its Kompong Som port up to the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Given the economic impact from the coronavirus pandemic on many countries in the ASEAN, analysts have pointed to the need for its members, including Cambodia, to diversify away from China and tap into global supply chains. Therefore, Cambodia is in free trade agreement negotiations with South Korea and the Eurasian Economic Union, and the government held its fourth round of trade talks with South Korea last week. Plans are also underway to begin FTA negotiations with Britain, the United States, Japan, Mongolia, and India. Cambodia is actually coming out of its past errors. The weakness shown by the past Cambodian leadership invited American B-52 Stratofortress bombers. Cambodia feels their aftershocks till date. Cambodian leadership's choice to join hands with China punished the Southeast Asian nation even further, and it was sent deeper into diplomatic isolation. Beijing, which was at that time keen on exporting the communist ideology all over the world, even went on to instigate a coup in Cambodia by helping the communists Khmer Rouge in 1970 and then taking over Kampuchea in 1975. When the ruthless communist Khmer government inflicted brutalities and massacres on Cambodian citizens, China simply turned a blind eye. In fact, the Paper Dragon even supplied economic, military, and diplomatic aid to the barbaric regime. Now, with the passage of time, Cambodia would have to come to understand the perils of getting over-dependent on external power, especially when that foreign power is China. Beijing is in the habit of abandoning its friends if they get a better offer. Cambodia, therefore, understands why it should embrace a more diverse and versatile form of diplomacy as opposed to its erstwhile China-centric foreign policy. Cambodia may be growing increasingly aware of how China is hurting its interests. Chinese officials with their newly stitched deep pockets have been pushing corruption among local authorities, resulting in Chinese nationals having disregard for local Cambodian laws. This has fueled incidences of homicides, kidnapping, extortion, and prostitution, with Chinese players and their money in the background. Chinese influence in Cambodia has given a rise to substandard infrastructure in the Southeast Asian nation by Chinese construction companies. The well-paid Cambodian officers often go soft on the Chinese projects, who downplay the importance of working environment security issues. One such incident was the collapse of a building that killed 28 people in June last year. Moreover, Chinese support to the Khmer language has been angering the majority of Cambodian-speaking people. China's cyber machinery also attacks local politicians, human rights activists, and the institution working to put forth the voices of the Cambodian people. Chinese interference in the Cambodian elections in 2018 had led to further distrust among Cambodians for China. China has also entrapped Cambodia through the means of economics, just like it has done with several other countries. Cambodia's debts to China account for more than 25% of its GDP, according to a report by Germany-based Kiel Institute for the World Economy. Cambodia is slowly realizing that the mistakes committed by the past leadership have caused irreparable harm. So now, it is time for Cambodia to wean away from China. Recent steps in the post-coronavirus era have been in line with Cambodia's likely decision to diversify its supply chain command and recalibration of its ties with the US. It is high time that Cambodia realized that its position right now as one of the poorest countries in the world is only because of its sheer overdependence on China. Cambodia of today must be for Cambodian people only and not for the Chinese Communist Party.